Well, should you or shouldn't you dump your widower? Ugh. It's a tough question because there's so much information that you have to bring to bear on this. And a lot of it has to do with number one is checking yourself. How jealous of a person are you? Are you the kind of person that believes there's only room in the heart for one person? Even if you're like, okay, it's fine you loved them when they were alive and that you were in love with them then. But if you're still in love with them now, then that means you don't have room for me. And I have issue with that because, as I like to say, the heart is infinite. And if that's true, then is it possible that this new relationship could be something entirely different than anything that's ever been before? Because the widow had, 20, 30, 40, whatever years with this other person to create an identity and a life and a social system and all of the memories that they had. Everything that they knew about themselves is wrapped up in this other person. And you're going to come along and say, well, you're just going to have to leave all that behind. And if you want to be with me. And that's okay that you may be that way. But what I want to suggest is maybe you're not cut out to be with the widower. And that doesn't make you any less than by any means. But it might mean that not being able to be friends with the late spouse in spirit, where you can embrace them and their lives together. If you can't do that, then that's going to make it real difficult for the relationship to be able to move forward and have any level of honesty. Now, this isn't negating any kind of responsibility that the widow has, because absolutely they need to be putting you first in the present moment, which means that when you go out on dates, they don't constantly talk about their late spouse. Now, having a bit of compassion, because that restaurant you're going to may be the one that they went to with their spouse 45 different times. And so they don't have a memory there without the spouse. So it's hard for them to find something to talk about that doesn't involve the spouse. But they need to try. Okay? So if their wife always ordered the linguine, then you can say it would be good for the widower then to say, the linguine here is lovely, not my wife loved the linguine. Do you see the difference? You talk about the events and not the person if you're the widow. Most of the time, unless it's relevant, you have to ask yourself, is it useful to bring up my spouse? Is it wise? Is it kind to the other person that you're dating and that you're trying to build something new with? You have to ask yourself that question. So you, as the widow or widower, you have a responsibility to the other person as well. And you can't negate that. You've got to know that what you do and say matters in regards to how you're forming and building this new bond. So I wish you all luck. Relationships are hard no matter what. And when we get into old age, our middle years and beyond, we bring a lot of we have a whole lifetime of story that we bring to the table. And if we start picking and choosing what that person can bring to the table and what they can't, we're going to run into even more problems than is absolutely necessary. It's hard enough as it is. So let's make it easier on each other with more compassion for everyone. And this is an Otis moment. Hello, Otis. Okay, goodbye.